Next, we have Gaspar Arvai and Theodor Stanica presenting the SipTip, a tip for paper straws created to make their use more comfortable and to eliminate the continued use of plastic straws.
I'm Gaspar Arvai, and this is Theodor Stanica, and we are the founders of SipTip. So what is SipTip? SipTip offers innovative solutions to the problems caused by paper straws. So fortunately, the use of paper straws has been increasing to replace plastic straws, which we all know are horrible. They have huge impact on the environment. They don't decompose for at least 100 years, and a lot of times they end up in the ocean, impacting marine life. And this is why it's good to see that many countries are introducing paper straws. For example, in Luxembourg, plastic straws have been mostly abolished, and restaurants have to use paper straws. However, in other continents, this is not the case. For example, in Africa and America, plastic straws are still widely used due to the inconveniences of paper straws. So paper straws are often made of paper, and so they soak up the liquid and the saliva at the tip, and they can collapse in your mouth and become unusable after 5 minutes. We all know the experience. We go to a restaurant, we order a drink, and then we just can't drink it because the straw has just collapsed in our mouth. And this is why many are reluctant to switch and are protesting the use of paper straws. And another thing, there are some paper straws which have better structural integrity, but a lot of times they're using chemicals which can dissolve in the mouth and can be harmful to the human body. This is why we invented SipTip, which could offer a solution to these specific issues.
Yeah, so SipTip offers a really nice solution. It is a tip that you place on paper straws, which makes it so it feels smoother and it feels more professional than just drinking from a regular paper straw. And it's really useful because people who have grown accommodated to paper and plastic straws mostly, do not want to switch to the paper straws because it does not feel as nice, and they're the non-benefits that he mentioned before. What the SipTip offers is a transition, kind of, from plastic straws to paper straws using the SipTip. Next, we have how we produced the SipTip. So we are drinking from a paper straw, and we noticed how it got mushy. It became unusable, and we wanted to counteract this because paper straws are a good idea. They're good for the environment, unlike plastic straws, because they can be dissolved. So we thought of solutions. We researched metal straws, and we saw the issues with metal straws, being that they're large, and that means that you can't really carry them around because they're metal. You can't really squish them in your pocket. But for the SipTip, it takes the benefits of the metal straw, which is that it's reusable, and has it in a transportable way because it's small. It's only 4 centimeters long, and it can be applied to any straw, any paper straw, and enhance the experience as well as still being good for the environment. Next, we have the process of construction. The process of construction is in 3 main stages. SipTip version 1.0 is the original. It's the first one that we came up with. Using Blender, which is a 3D modeling app, we designed it, and we printed it out using 3D printers, and we tested it. However, it was quite finicky, and it was also quite bulky due to the design we used. After some head scratching and some brainstorming, we came up with SipTip version 2.0, which encompasses now all types of straws, because there's different straws from different manufacturers, and encompasses all these different types of straws that can be used on a singular SipTip. So you only have to get one SipTip and have the complete experience of it. And then the final version, which is the current version and the best version, is version 2.1, which was made after we tested the SipTip 2.0 on the original pieces of straws, and some measurements had to be changed slightly by 0.1 millimeters or so, and this caused the production of SipTip 2.1.
So during this project, we learned a lot about 3D modeling. Before this, we had no prior experience with 3D engineering, but we have learned how to use Blender. And we have produced all the prototypes. We have designed all the prototypes in Blender. And we also learned a lot about the engineering process, the trial and error process, that first you have the idea, you make a prototype you think is good, you make it, and then you realize, oh yeah, there is this thing wrong with it, there's this thing wrong with it. So then you fix these specific issues in the next one, in the next prototype, but then there are other issues. So then you do it again and you repeat until you get close to perfection. And we are really proud that we had an idea, and then from this idea we could actually make it into a reality. We are really proud that we made the SipTip. It was from an idea to a SipTip.
In conclusion, the Jonk Fuerscher was a really great learning opportunity for us, as it gave us more motivation to put our time and effort into this project. And the team building was also really good that came with this project, as Gasper and I got closer and became more acquainted with each other. Something we do recommend, though, is to be friends with the person that you're teaming up with, as Gasper and I were, because then you want to work together more, and when you want to work together more, you will work together more, and they'll lead to a product of a higher quality. Overall, we're really proud of our product because it's finished, it's working, and it's okay. Sure. It's over. Yeah. Okay.
Hello. I hope the presentation went well as planned. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
it was really enjoyable, yes.
Was it the first time in front of a jury or?
No.
No, so
No,
you're used
yeah.
to it already. That's
Yeah.
great. So SipTip, first a very good name for something. It sticks in, well, when I first heard it, I was really intrigued by it. Where did that idea come from exactly?
For the name or for the...
Yeah, for the name, yeah.
Well, it's we like puns. We go to an English-speaking school, so yeah, it's a tip which you sip from. So
Okay, so it was a wordplay that you were going for. Well, it worked really well because, again, it sticks and one knows more or less what it's about directly. But then after the name, where did you get the idea from saying, okay, we need something like that, or I want to invent or create something so specific?
Well, the name came after we actually designed the product.
Okay.
The product was made to fix the issues of paper straws, because they do get really mushy, mostly at the place from where you drink from. And this is, you place this on the place where you drink from the straw, so it's an obvious solution to the paper straws. It's also an added benefit that it convinces the people who use the plastic straws to migrate to paper straws using the SipTip, because it feels nice as well.
Exactly, and you have shown me that it's also reusable, so you can remove it and use it again, which also, even though it's plastic, it can still be reused. But you were saying that you have a future project, instead of going with plastic, was with...
with metals, actually.
Okay.
This is just a prototype, which is plastic, but we are experimenting with the different metals and maybe even 3D printing a metal, or just going to a metalworking company and using metal for the SipTip.
Okay, amazing. So that's like a future plan of yours?
Yes.
Yeah, so for next year, maybe, or long term?
Yes, it's possible for next year that we are going to have this ready.
Yeah, we're probably going to pursue it already before the competition from next year starts.
Okay. Was also, like, we had now COVID, was that also one of the inspiration to create something like that? Or?
It certainly helps with the bacterium spread, because, for example, you could have one cup with one paper straw in it, and you have 6 friends you want to share it with. If each one of those friends has a SipTip, then there's no issue, because everyone just drinks from their SipTip and there's no exchange of the bacteria.
Okay. So you were talking that you're also experimenting with different metals. Have you already started with the research or not yet?
We have, but we are still in the very early stages.
Okay. So your future plans is going to be developing this further and more in detail?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then when you were creating this concept. You had probably to use a lot of technology to develop it. You were showing some of the pictures. Was that something completely new to you, or was it something that you were already used to, and this was just a very more specific project?
No, we have actually never done 3D modeling before this, and we actually used the help of a friend in Slovakia who taught us a bit about 3D modeling.
Okay.
And we used Blender, the 3D modeling app, or software to create our designs.
Okay. Before you started, were you aware of all the things that you needed to learn to achieve this goal?
No,
Yes.
not everything.
We knew the rough idea for sure.
Okay, rough idea. And what was new? What was something that was unexpected?
Just how many prototypes you have to print until you get to the final.
We expected that we measure the different types of straws, we plan it, we put in the 3D printer, and then it comes out perfect, but it's not the case, no.
How many prototypes did you create?
3 different designs so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the first one really was really basic, so we really needed the new prototypes.
Fair enough. And how many did you throw away?
We kept all of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there were non-faulty versions, one after the next, until you had all the the details correct.
Yeah, some of the earlier ones were just finicky.
Yeah.
They sometimes didn't fit absolutely correctly. So yeah, we still kept them though. We still have them, in a museum of sorts. Yeah.
So at home behind some piece of glass,
Yeah.
as a memorabilia. Okay. Jen, during your creative process and inventing it, what is one of the music that you're listening to? No music?
No.
So you were just focused there, or had you some YouTube video on the side? How did you work? What was the creative process behind it?
Well, we had the idea. We drew the idea on our iPads.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had fears. Actually, we had quite some debates about what it should look like, especially in the beginning. And then once we had that, actually putting it into 3D wasn't that hard, because we asked for the help from the guy from Slovakia, and we also YouTube also helped a lot. But the most difficult part was actually just settling on the idea before putting it into the 3D modeling.
Okay. During your discussions between each other, were there some moments where you were really frustrated, or when everything smooth sailing?
Everything was smooth sailing, I'd say.
Okay, well, lucky you. Jen, as a general advice to the rest of the contestant, or maybe somebody who wants to follow your footsteps, now, later on, what do you think would you have done differently at the beginning of your project?
I would say our expectations. So we would don't expect your first prototype to necessarily work. So be more patient. So to actually be really patient, and we started early. But if we hadn't started early, we wouldn't have our latest working prototype. So definitely start early with the prototypes.
Okay, yeah, and then patience.
Yeah.
And then also, also be prepared to learn new skills. Like you said, you had to learn with Blender, and also be open to work with other people doing your project, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you say that that was something you were aware beforehand, or is that something that developed over time?
We have worked together for school projects before, so I think that was fine. But learning new skills was definitely a part of it. And yeah, Blender, we didn't know how to use it before, and now we know. So yes, that is definitely important for any project, to be open to learn new skills.
Yeah.
Okay. Were there also discussions between you two where you disagreed, or was it always?
Yes, in the beginning, in the first design, we didn't really know how to make it possible so it's good for every straw. Mm-hmm. So that's where we had our different ideas, and sometimes they were contrasting.
Okay. Then thank you very much for being here, for presenting it to us. And then I hope that next year we're going to see then the metal version. Do you already know what metal you would prefer, or is it something?
We are still working.
Yeah.
Still working on it. Okay. By then, I'm looking forward for next year, and I hope it works out. And I wish you a wonderful day, and we're going to see what the other contestants have ready for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.